Jaggy, let's jump into the New York Rangers.
Let's get into these Rangers, 42, 27, and 13. Tom Rennie, third in the Atlantic, fifth in the East. This was Henrik Lundqvist's third season. Led the league in shutouts with 12. He was standing on his head.
Wow.
Third year in a row making the playoffs. Some big additions to this roster. Scott Gomez, Chris Drury, both in free agency.
Wait a minute. That's why you did Vogue, because Henrik,
he was stealing my thunder.
He was so fucking good looking in those suits. You had to work in Vogue. That's the only reason you worked in Vogue.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Very intuitive of you. Yes, one of the greatest looking men ever in the world. He's a hell of a goalie.
Just a stud, too.
Yeah.
Just a stud. Yeah. Sorry for cutting you off, Jeff.
No, man, that was exactly where I was going.
Did math.
You read my mind, brother. Some other guys on this team. Jágr was on this team, man.
Jágr.
Yep. Oh, he certainly was.
Man.
Yep. What a player. Dude, Jaromír Jágr, how could you explain what he is? This guy...
He's still playing.
Insane.
He's 53.
He owns a team in the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the Eastern Bloc. Jágr didn't cut his toenails if he was on a scoring streak. Like, he thought that everything was like being about grounded and the power in his body. He had the biggest legs I have ever seen. They were so big. They were the biggest, like a fucking offensive lineman, but he could jump, his vertical, like an unbelievable athlete.
Yeah.
Loved to gamble on football.
He's just like me.
He was so cool. I grew up watching him. He was still firing at this point. Unbelievable. Almost a point a game player. What a player. Yeah. A real honor to be able to have played with him, honestly.
You got to play with some legends.
Yeah. I got some serious guys lucky.
Got to cut
just those old school heads, those old heads were different. Like, they were because they were in the 80s. So there was this generational thing and some of those guys defected. They were like actually defectors to the US, and I got them on, not the tail end of their career, but at a good point where they were still firing. Yeah.
The Eastern Bloc guys.
Wild, dude.
Are they just a different breed?
Yeah. I mean, the Russians are incredible because they didn't have heat like 6 years ago. You know what I mean? Some of these guys, seriously, they, at this point, like, it was still like Russia. They didn't go home in the summer sometimes. Like, it's dangerous to be a Russian player. Russians are so much fun. I loved playing with them. Swedes are like Canadians. Czechs are like Canadians. Very similar, sort of like a little gritty and kind of like the well-rounded guys. American guys were starting to come into their own. Paul Mara, a Boston kid. Brandon Dubinsky was fucking out of his mind. Doobie. We had some wild dudes on this team.
Now, you ever drink any of that Russian gas?
Yep.
What is it?
I mean, they can put it in the car and the car will start.
And they just drink it.
Yeah, they go.
Oh,
hard.
my God.
Hard. But I also played with Russians that liked, like, new age Russians, and they loved caviar.
Ooh.
Like, these guys, Russians like rich things. They're just, because, it's funny. You guys don't play with
never play with a Russian.
Oh, Russians are fucking wild, man.
We're just straight America over here,
They're Feder Tootin on this team, a complete wild man. Like, great guy. We played so hard, too. Great player.
How was Sean Avery as a hockey player? What was his scouting report?
My God. As you get older, you realize, like, nothing was ever going to change my game. I could have been so much better and at what I did if I just did a little less of, like, the one thing that I did, which was just cause, like, complete fucking havoc. I guess with me, you could say that, and even I see people here in LA that season ticket holders, I only played here 3 years, a long time ago. They go, dude, I loved you on the team. We had no fucking idea what was going to happen from game to game. Like, and that was kind of how it was, you know? You didn't know. you really didn't know. Like if I was,
Unpredictable.
yeah, very unpredictable.